My grandmother used to work as a nurse in my hometown. She enjoyed the job and got along with all of her coworkers. Almost every morning, she would get herself some fresh coffee from the break room, since there was always a man there who always ended up making it for everyone. One day, she was getting herself some coffee as usual. Upon taking a sip of the beverage, she immediately spit it out and dumped it in the sink. When telling the story, she had told me that it tasted like there was sugar in it, and she absolutely hates coffee with sugar in it. A while later, an arrest was made on a man named Michael Swango, the guy preparing coffee in the break room. He was convicted of aggravated battery for poisoning coworkers and patients with arsenic and other poisons. So it turns out, there was never any sugar in it. Instead, there was only poison. Ever since then, she had brought her own coffee instead. So thanks to my grandma's disliking for sugary coffee, she's still alive today. When I was 6, I went to a week-long family reunion at a lodge somewhere. I only have a few vague memories of this, mostly involving candy, like many of my earliest memories. Years later, I had a couple of vivid nightmares about this lodge, and about a man, 60-ish, overweight, with bright blue eyes and white hair that vacated the top of his head. The more disturbing details of these nightmares are not important. Dreams are very unreliable sources. But I do have one real memory of this vacation that is very clear. I was lying in bed one night, long after my siblings had gone to sleep. I never had trouble sleeping as a child, but this night, I was wide awake when I heard something at my window that made me jump out of my skin. I ran to my parents' room, crying hysterically, and pounded on the door so hard that my fists hurt. The memory ends there, but years later, when I started having the nightmares, I asked my parents about it. That was when I found out that when they had gone to my room that night, they found that the screen cut open from the outside and a small ladder leaning against the window. My parents had us sleep in their room, and we left early the next day. What would have happened if I had been able to sleep that night? I think I'd rather not know. My mom had recently bought an apartment and still hadn't unpacked every single box, so she hadn't looked in every single cupboard or drawer or anything. One night, she was hanging out with her friend. They were laughing and having a good time. Her friend was playing the guitar when they both heard a knock at the door. It was about 2 a.m., and at this time, my mom didn't think much of it. She was really naive at this time, so she got up to go answer it. Because of the setup of this apartment, anyone by the front door couldn't see her or her friend. So my mom answers the door to a scrawny-looking man about in his early 30s. My mom still hadn't had any alarm bells going off, so she politely greeted the man. The man responds with a smile. "Hello, young lady. I was the previous owner to this apartment, and I was just wondering if I could go take a look and see if my pots and pans were still in the cupboard." My mom, being the really naive girl she was, happily obliges, letting the man inside and closing the door behind her. Still no red flags for her. She leads the giddy man to her kitchen, and on the way they pass her friend. After that, the man didn't seem too giddy anymore. Quickly takes a look around the cupboards and leaves. It wasn't until later that my mom realized that if her friend wouldn't have been there, something bad could have happened.